Coming up tonight, Navua River dredging gets underway. 2012 Fiji Showcase to feature 7 international entertainers. And shark conservation consultation begins. Good evening, I'm Sandra Asam. The Prime Minister Vorenke Bainimarama has briefed the President of the Asian Development Bank on the election reforms undertaken as the country moves towards the 2014 elections and the steps taken to formulate the new constitution. The head of government is currently in the Philippines attending the 45th annual meeting for ADB governors. Meanwhile, Bainimarama has also thanked the ADB for their assistance following the 2 recent floods which hit the country. The ADB had provided the Fijian government with $1 million in April and a further $2 million to assist with the flood rehabilitation works. A consultation for the conservation of sharks in the country was held at the Holiday Inn in Suva this morning. The consultation follows a number of concerns over the ecological and economic impacts of the loss of shark population in Fiji's maritime ecosystems.
The Fisheries Department, in its efforts, commenced the conservation of sharks in 2009 in an attempt to move towards the continuous support and compliance to Western and Central Pacific Fisheries Commission conservation management measures. Strong protection for sharks will require ban on commercial fishing, trade, bycatch retention, and transshipment of sharks. Speaking at the consultation yesterday, the Permanent Secretary for Fisheries and Forests, Inoke Wainingolo, says in Fiji and around the globe there is a lack of data on the reporting of shark harvest, and this is evident in the diminishing population of sharks, of which there has been a notable decline in this marine species over the past decade.
Amongst other things, there are worldwide concerns over the ecological and economic impacts of the loss of shark population in marine ecosystems. Strategies on the protection of sharks, including establishing sanctuary, banning commercial shark fishing, and trade of shark parts, have been implemented in several developed countries, such as the US and Canada. Other small island states, such as Palau, Marshalls, Guam, and Tokelau, have done so too.
Sharks are harvested at an unprecedented rate primarily to support the shark fin trade. A research in 2006 showed that up to 75 million sharks are killed annually to support the global shark fin trade. This will mean in Fiji the taking of sharks both as incidental catch and as target catch within our waters is increasingly to unsustainable levels. There are 58 species of sharks which are commonly found in Fiji, with 16 species designated as vulnerable. 16 species are designated near threatened and 2 are disappearing. In an effort to establish shark conservation measures in Fiji, representatives from non-government organizations, government agencies such as fisheries, school students, and tertiary students from USP attended the consultation in an effort to protect the future of this fragile yet powerful guardian of the reef, sharks.
The newly established dialysis center in Nandi will certainly open doors to a lot of patients suffering from kidney problems, as it will now become the patient's prerogative as to the dialysis location they prefer. There used to be one dialysis center located centrally in Suva, which was an answer to a lot of kidney patients. However, it was only beneficial to patients living in the Central Division. The Western Dialysis Center was officially opened yesterday by the Health Minister, Dr. Neil Sharma.
Western Dialysis Center. The dialysis center established in Nandi is aimed for Western patients, majority of those who suffer from kidney problems. Initially, patients from the Western Division had to travel to Suva's CWM hospital to undergo dialysis treatment. Patients who are living in Singatoka, Nandi, Lautoka, Mba and outer regions had to bear the travelling and transportation cost added to the high cost of dialysis and the added burden of long-distance travels, which further placed more stress on their health. The Western Dialysis Centre is a privately funded project sponsored by Muscat Cove Island Resort along with ANZ Bank and Zen's Medical Centre.
We brought the first machine in, we brought a nurse in from Australia to train local nurses, and now we have a fully run local clinic, and it's absolutely wonderful. And we're treating local patients.
The Dialysis Centre is trying to set up a charity trust fund to help those patients who cannot afford dialysis or have to do lesser dialysis than required of them. As it is a dialysis charge per session is $250 plus injection of $80. With recommended 3 sessions per week for these patients, the cost amounts to $910 per week. This is more than an average person's income per month, which many cannot afford. Currently, the centre has 13 patients and most of them fall below the poverty line. A total of $400,000 has been invested in the centre. However, there are still more renovation works that needs to be done in the centre to fully complete it.
Well, we hope to get some more nurses in, and currently we're running one shift a day, on certain days running 2, but you know, the busier we get, the more shifts that we can run, and we also hope to be able to supply dialysis treatment for patients, overseas patients wishing to travel to Fiji for a holiday. There's not a lot of options when you have renal failure to travel, because you have to have it 3 times a week. That's just the reality. So if guests want to come for a family with their holiday, they have to be close enough to get the treatment. So you could be easily sitting on Denarau, having a nice time with your family, come into town, have a quick dialysis treatment, and then continue enjoying your holiday.
The Western Dialysis Centre orders its medication and equipment from Australia and Malaysia and is motivated by the idea that life is more valuable than the cost associated in transporting equipment and medication.
Coming up after the break, more donations pour in for flood relief. Nandi women receive sewing machines, and dredging of the Navua River begins.